On a 2D cityscape. So today our tool is our ruler, and there's two different ways that we're going to hold our ruler. If we want to do a horizontal line, we're going to hold our fingers piano style. That means we stretch them out wide so our ruler doesn't wiggle as we draw across, and we can slide it up and down to practice piano style. Whenever we want to do vertical lines, we're going to turn our ruler vertical and spread our hand out like an L and slide it back and forth to do vertical lines. I like to call this guitar style. Everybody say guitar style, piano style. I always want to push my pencil against the side of the ruler that has the metal edge on it. So make sure you're using that. I'm going to start by doing some vertical lines that show the sides of my buildings, like in these pictures on the left-hand side of the screen. So I'm going to start by making some vertical lines. I want to spread my hand out with my fingers in the shape of an L, guitar style. And I'm going to lightly press my pencil up against that metal edge. I want you to say, draw light until I get it right. Draw light until I get it right. Right now, I'm just estimating. I'm estimating the height of the side of one building and the height of the other side of that same building. So I'm using my math skills of estimating. Some of my buildings are going to be kind of small buildings, and some of my buildings will be kind of tall buildings. We've been looking at some art examples that show 2D cityscapes, so this is a great time for us to practice a 2D cityscape. And we're going to create lots of doors and windows on our buildings. All right, so I've got the vertical lines on the side of my buildings. Now I'm going to go piano style. Everybody say piano style. I spread my fingers out like I'm playing piano, and I hold down my ruler so it doesn't wiggle, and I start to do my horizontal lines. Everybody say horizontal. Flat like a table. Draw light until I get it right. So I have the basic outline of about 4 buildings, but now I want to add some buildings behind them. I'm going to use overlapping. Overlapping is like in that orange building and blue building right there. The blue building, you could tell, is in front. It's overlapping or covering the orange building behind it. So right here and right here, I want to do a couple of other buildings. I'm going to go back to guitar style. Everybody say guitar style. That's how I draw my vertical lines. Everybody say vertical. Tall like a building. So I'm going to draw part of a building back here and then stop when I get to the other building. And then I'll come over here and I'm going to do the other side of that building and stop. I think I want to do another one right here that's a little bit shorter. So I'll do a vertical line and stop. I'm not going to do another one because I'm going to run that one off the page. Here I go. I'm going to do horizontal using guitar style. Or piano style. For my horizontal lines, I want to use piano style, where I spread my fingers out like I'm playing a piano so my ruler does not wiggle. Now, you might not have as many buildings as mine, or you might have a few more. I want to do one more on this side over here with overlapping. Everybody say overlapping. Overlapping is when one object covers up the object behind it. All right, so now I have the basic plan for my sketch. Let's come back and let's do some doors and windows. I'm going to go back to guitar style to do vertical lines. Everybody say vertical, tall like a building. I'm going to estimate where I want my doors on here. So notice I always keep my ruler flat on the table and I slide it around. And I'm going to do my vertical lines first. That one's got kind of a tall door. I'm going to make this door a little bit wide. And then I'm going to slide. And I'll just keep sliding my ruler to make my other doors. I'm going to put this door up on a little porch. So I'm going to raise it up some. And then this one is going to be down on the ground again. And these are going to be double doors. So let me put another line in between. You can do single doors or double doors. Now I'm going to go back to piano style and do the tops of my doors. Oh yeah, I said this one would be on a porch. So right here, I'm going to do the top of the porch, and then I'll do the sides of the porch. Here we go. All right, fantastic. So I have the layout of my city landscape. I need to do a few windows up here on these buildings in the background. I won't be able to see their doors. And of course, I'm going to do lots of windows on these buildings. So most of us know about arrays. In arrays, we're going to have the same number of windows in each row. So I'm going to start with piano style, and I'm going to go from the top down on this building, and I think I'm going to put 3 windows. So I'm going to estimate the space I need for 3 windows and try to make them pretty equal. So that'll be the top of the window, and this will be the bottom of the window. And then I'll slide through the tops of the next windows and slide, and the bottoms of the next windows. So we're getting lots of ruler practice. You might have bigger windows than mine. You might not have as many windows as me. That's fine. Everybody's art is going to look different. Everybody's city is going to look different. And that's one of the great things about what we're doing in art. All right, so I have to keep track of whether I'm doing the tops of the windows or the bottoms of the windows. And then when I get done, I'm just going to come back with my ruler and I'm going to do the sides pretty quickly. Tops of the windows and the bottoms of the windows. This is going to be my last row of windows here. Now, to make it go really fast, I could put a couple more right here, couldn't I? I'm going to use my ruler like this. I'm going to go vertical, and then I'm going to start connecting those windows. Then I'll have to come back with an eraser and clean it up a little bit. I'm going to put one more window right there. So you can see I did the sides of those windows all the way down. And then right here, I'm going to estimate and make these a little wider. I might need to come back with my pencil and join the corners. That's okay. Yeah, I like that. All right, and then I'm going to slide and do the next set of windows. So notice when my ruler hand is on the left, my pencil's on the right, I'm always using the metal strip to help get straight lines and touching my pencil up against the metal strip of my ruler. And I just keep on sliding. And notice how the ruler is a tool that helps me draw very, very quickly. And my lines are super straight. So even if you only have 3 buildings in your picture, this is a great time for you to practice rulers. Now, I'm not measuring today. I'm estimating. I'm using my math skill of estimating. That means I'm guessing how tall I want each window to be and where I want to space it. If you want to do some measuring, you can, but estimating is a way that I can work really quickly when I don't have to measure. Sometimes you have to measure with your ruler, but today we don't have to measure. I need to draw some little lines and close up my corners there. I could use my ruler, but I'm just working pretty fast right now. I hope you're going a little bit slower and taking your time to do your best art. All right, so there's my first set of arrays. Now I'm going to do some arrays on the next one. Now, here's a way that I like to do windows that goes a little bit faster. This building is going to have some wide windows. So I'll go all the way across like this and then slide down. Do my next line for the bottom of that window. Slide down. That's going to be the top. And then I'm estimating the bottom and the top. And then estimating the bottom. And then the top. And then estimating the bottom. All right, then I'll turn my ruler back guitar style so I can do vertical lines. Now, other art teachers probably don't call this guitar style and piano style, but it made me think about the way we play instruments. And when you play a guitar, you have the neck of the guitar with the strings on it. It kind of goes up. And then when you are playing piano, you spread your fingers out wide like this. Look, I have room for one more set of windows. So I think I'm going to go back to piano style and do my horizontal lines, and then go back to guitar style to do my vertical lines. Awesome. So that went really, really quick when I did the windows like that. And then if I wanted to break them up, I could estimate 1, 2, and think about putting like 4 windows in each one. I like estimating. Estimating is a great math skill. That's when you're not counting or adding. You are doing your closest guess just by looking at something. All right, so there's that building. I'm going to keep working on these buildings over here, adding in my arrays of windows. So when I did this one, I started by estimating my vertical lines. This time I'm going to estimate my horizontal lines. In fact, I really like the way that one went. So I think I'm going to do some more wide windows. Here I go. I'm going to do that, and I'm going to slide. I'm going to make these windows a little bit bigger so my buildings all look different. and then slide down to do the top of the next window, slide down to do the bottom. When I estimate now, I'm trying to keep the height of these two windows about the same, and then the height of the space in between those two windows about the same. This is going to be a fantastic city landscape we're making. It's going to require a lot of quadrilaterals. Quadrilaterals are flat shapes with four sides, so I'm repeating quadrilaterals throughout my work. I think I have room for one more big window. Oh man, I love the way this is turning out. All right, then I'm going to go back vertical, guitar style, and I'm going to connect the sides of those windows. Oh, this ruler lets me work so fast. I always keep my ruler down flat on the table, and I just slide it around. Now I'm going to do the other sides of the windows. And sometimes I might have to go back and draw in the corners to make the corners complete. That's okay. Just like this, add a little line. Beautiful. Now, let me move over to my other building in the front right here. Again, I'm going to estimate. This time I'm going to do some big wide windows, but I'm going to do two on this one. So there's the tops of my windows, and then the bottoms of my windows. And then the tops of my windows I'm estimating, and then sliding down and doing the bottoms of my windows. So there's a lot of repetition in this activity, which is good because it's going to make our hands strong and make us very, very good with the ruler. I'm always using the inches side. The inches side goes 1 through 12 on my ruler because on these rulers, that is the side that has the metal strip on it. Now that metal strip could be very, very dangerous. If you hit someone or hit your own fingers with that metal strip, it could definitely cut or break. So please make sure that you're being super safe, keeping your tool flat. All the time we talk about ruler safety. So in this case, our ruler is always flat on the table. We're not ever putting our pencil in that little hole to spin it like a helicopter. We're not ever hitting anything. We're not hitting the desk. We're not hitting our friends. We're not hitting ourselves even. So we have to be super safe with these tools that we use in art. Any tool used the wrong way could become a weapon to hurt somebody, including yourself. So please make sure that you are being super safe. Everybody say safety first. All right. Oh, this one turned out great with the big windows because I do want to have variety, but notice I still have an array. It's still 2 by 5, and all my windows are pretty equal. Sometimes I mess up my lines a little bit, so I just get in there with my eraser and carefully erase, and then if I need to draw it back, just draw it back a little bit. All right, now I'm going to work on these windows in the background here. So those windows are a little bit further away. For those overlapping buildings, they're further down the street, or maybe they're on the next street over. So I'm thinking about those being a little bit smaller, and maybe I'll just have room for like 2 rows of windows back there on that building that's further away. I'll make my space a little bit smaller too. Oh, in fact, I don't even have room right there to finish that one up. So let me just do this. Oh, this is cool though. I like where that window stops right there. So, you know what? I kind of need a little bit more right there all the way down to show there's another building back there. You don't have to do this part, but I like to do details in my art. So that's going to be the details of where the other windows are on that building back there. Okay, I've got a couple more buildings over here, and then I'll be about done with my background. So on this one right here, let's see, I'm going to make some smaller windows since it's a little bit further away. And this time, I think I'm going to start with piano style to do my horizontal lines. Let me do piano style. You guys could tell, I bet, that I like saying guitar style. It's because I play guitar. I love to play guitar. So Piano style is what I'm doing right now. Before I learned how to play guitar, I did learn how to play piano a little bit, and I did not like it. And so I switched. So if you're doing a lot of ruler practice like this, your hands would get really, really strong to play the piano. But they would also get strong to do art and use your ruler and to measure too. So if I were measuring, I would be counting how many inches I'm drawing each line, or centimeters if I wanted to use centimeters. But since the metal edge is on the inches side of my ruler, it would be a lot easier when I was drawing this to use inches if I wanted to. All right, now I'm going to turn back guitar style to do my vertical lines. And then I just slide. Again, I'm estimating. So a city landscape is often called a cityscape. We use that word scape, which kind of means a view or a picture of something, and just change the front of that word. Another word you might hear like that is called seascape, and that is when we have a picture of the ocean and islands and fish. And then if we're doing a landscape, it's probably something like mountains and trees. But we can apply the concept of landscape to city, change the word to cityscape. All right, this one over here, I have enough room just to do one row of windows, so I'm going to do those tall windows or long windows again. Great, now I get to add color and add details. If you wanted to, you could do some lines in here to break these windows up, kind of like I did down here. But it's up to you. Before I add color, I want to come back and I want to use my eraser and just clean things up. Hi, we've been drawing our 2D cityscape. Now it's time to add some color. We're going to use color pencils for this one, and I'm going to use some reds, some oranges, and some other colors that I see that kind of represent buildings. So when I color with my color pencil, boys and girls, I like to kind of tilt it to the side. I don't hold it straight up and down and press down hard like a regular pencil. I tilt it to the side, and I try to make very even strokes so you can't even see each little pencil mark. It should kind of blend together. And I do small areas like this at a time. I'm not pressing down too hard. I can always come back and press down harder and add details like bricks if I wanted to on these buildings. So I just try to keep my movement very fluid, very smooth, and keep my pencil tilted over on an angle, about 45 degrees angle, instead of holding it straight up and down and pressing hard like I would with a regular writing pencil or drawing pencil. And I try not to leave any white spaces in between my marks. If I do, I just go back really lightly. Maybe I'm moving in a different direction now, but that's okay. Now when we did our cityscape, we left some spaces in between the windows, so I'm going to just cruise right between all those spaces and keep my hand moving from left to right as I do it. And this is one technique. Sometimes with color pencils, people try some other techniques and they try to leave white spaces. In fact, I can show you some other techniques as we move along, but right now I'm doing the base color of all of my buildings in my 2D cityscape. So one thing to think about when you're coloring something like this is unity. Unity is when you repeat colors so that everything kind of goes together. If you look at the picture on the left-hand side of the screen, you can see in that picture that I did blue in all of the windows to make all of the buildings kind of go together. You don't have to do blue in all the windows. You could change it up. You might have some buildings with the lights on and maybe we see yellow or orange in those windows, and then some buildings with the lights off. And we could see blue or we could see purple maybe in those windows where the lights are off. So one of the things I like about coloring with colored pencils as opposed to coloring with crayons is with colored pencils, I can try to get everything nice and smooth, and I have this nice little point where I can get inside of each of the little spaces here very carefully. If I was using crayons, it would be very, very hard to get in all of those little spaces that I drew in between my windows. But the whole time I worked pretty softly and I didn't press down too hard. I'm going to keep that red out because I might use it again for another building, but I think I'll switch to another color I see on a lot of buildings in the city, and that is I'm going to use brown. I'm going to use brown for this building back behind right here because maybe it's a little bit darker since it's far away and it's harder to see. Again, I'm holding my colored pencil over on an angle and I'm trying to not leave any white space and sort of keep the same direction in my stroke. Now, I could change my direction. In fact, I think I will for my next building. I'll change the direction I'm coloring, but this angle is just a really natural way to color. But I'll move my hand next time so I'm getting a new angle. And of course, I have this space back behind it right there where that building was overlapped, so I need to color that in too, right? Now, you could pick whatever colors you want. If you wanted to have purple or green buildings, you could. And sometimes buildings are colored purple and green. But I'm using some kind of realistic colors in my city landscape, just like my shapes are pretty realistic too. And last time we worked on this, we talked about overlapping. Everybody say overlapping. Overlapping is when one object covers another object. So this building right here is overlapped by the building in front of it. It's covered, and that shows us distance in our artwork. It shows us that one building, this one down here, is in front of the brown building that I'm coloring right now. Oh yeah, this looks fantastic. I love the way that turned out. Now I'm going to do the building that overlaps it or covers it up in the front. I think I will switch over to orange for this one. And so I am using a lot of warm colors in this art. Oh, I said I would change directions. Let me change directions. So you could turn your paper. I'm going to turn my hand and make my strokes go this way now. That way all of my strokes aren't going on an angle like you saw up there. Plus, on this one, I did not leave any spaces in between the vertical lines of the windows. I did a different kind of window where they're all kind of connected, and they use some, maybe I can put some metal bars in there to keep the glass pieces separate. All right, this is looking great. Also, moving this way allowed me to color pretty quickly. Again, I'm holding my colored pencil over on an angle. I'm not pressing hard with a sharp point of my colored pencil like I might with a drawing pencil. I'm trying to keep it smooth and leave no white space behind for my 2D cityscape. And then if I do have any white spaces, I can just come back like this and go in another direction. So that's another technique people use with colored pencils. They will color all in one direction, and then they'll color all in another direction. And that is called cross-hatching because we have two sets of lines that intersect. So there my lines kind of intersect like an X. All right, I'm going to keep that orange out. I might use it again here in a few minutes. Oh, let me do a fun building. I'm going to do a blue building. Maybe this building has got a cool paint job on it. So let me use blue. Everybody knows blue is Mr. Wells' favorite color. So I'm going to work on this building over here. You could turn your paper. I'm going to turn my hand like this, and I'm going to start doing my blue building. I'm kind of looking at the example picture on the left-hand side of the screen. You are welcome to use that example picture for ideas if you want. And we also have been looking at some books and some real pictures of 2D cityscapes for ideas. So you might have added in something very different than what I'm drawing, and that's fine. Also, a lot of times in cityscapes like this, they might have some trees or some plants in front of the buildings. So those are details you could certainly draw in, especially before you color it in. It would be great if you did any little trees. Now, for this cityscape, we're focusing on using our rulers, and we're using the math concept of arrays. Arrays is when we have the same number of windows in each row, like this is 2 by 5, and my windows are very even up and down right here, 2 by 5. I did estimate, I didn't measure, but even though I'm going to add in some details like some handles on my doors and things like that, I am not putting people in this cityscape. I am not drawing any animals in this cityscape, and I'm not drawing cars. However, We might add some details like this after we get done with the cityscape as a background. We'll have to see how everybody does and how quickly we can work through this project. Most of all, I just want you to take your time and do your best work. That's my main goal every time we get together for art, is that you take your time and do your very, very best work. So, if you have 3 buildings, that's fine, as long as you're doing your best work. If you have 10 buildings, that's fine, as long as you are moving along at a good pace and doing your very, very best work. Yeah, I love this blue building. It's starting to look kind of like that picture up there. That's a good example. All right, so that's my blue building. Let's see, next I think I'm going to repeat this orange color on the building that is overlapped by the blue building. The blue building is in front of this building, so we say that is overlapping. Overlapping in art is when one object covers another object. And again, I've changed the direction I'm coloring. I'm coloring now with vertical strokes because I primarily have vertical lines I need to cover. The other thing is the building in front of it I colored with horizontal strokes. So this is a nice contrast with the vertical strokes here and the horizontal strokes here. But I am going to have to do some horizontal strokes to get into these teeny tiny spaces in between my windows, just like that. That's another reason we are using color pencils and not crayons or markers, because it's easier to get in there. Now sometimes people ask me, can you erase color pencil? And my answer is, it depends. Number one, it depends on what kind of color pencil you're using. Some color pencils actually have erasers. You know, I really like that orange. I'm going to repeat the orange over here to give my picture unity. Everybody say unity. U-N-I-T-Y. Unity is when you see colors repeated through your artwork so that it all seems to work together. You know, this up here, I could make this a sign instead of being a window. That would be a cool thing if we added some signs on our buildings. We might do that. Let's get the background done first. So, some color pencils are made for erasing, and they have erasers on top of them. I'm going to repeat my red again right here to give my work unity. U-N-I-T-Y. Unity is when I repeat my colors so that I have something that looks like it all goes together. I thought about using the same colors in multiple places in my art. Not exactly like a pattern, because in a pattern they would have to go in a particular order. And here there's not a particular order, but the same colors are being repeated. Now if you press down really hard with a color pencil, it's really hard to erase it. But if you're going kind of lightly, like I'm doing medium pressure, I'm not pressing super hard, I'm not pressing super light, like I did when I drew. I was pressing light until I get it right. And so I could erase some of it if I needed to. And then if I wanted to, like, say, draw a tree in here somewhere, I could erase an area as best as I can, and then come back with some green and brown and press pretty hard to add that tree in there. I'm really excited at how this is turning out, guys. Again, I keep my color pencil at a low angle, and then I use sort of the side of the color pencil, not the tip so much. I'm not trying to do hard marks like as if I were drawing with a regular pencil. Get these little white spaces down here. Oh, that's fantastic. Now I'm going to go ahead and do my doors. I'm going to repeat some browns in my doors, some light brown maybe, and some dark brown on some of them, so that I have unity. Most doors are generally going to be brown, right? Unless it's glass. You might do a door that's glass. And a lot of times when people want to show a glass door, they color it blue. So I wouldn't want to do that on my blue building. Probably wouldn't show up very good. But maybe like on this orange building, I could do some glass doors. All right, I'm going to do a lighter brown on this door. And I'm going to color one door, and then I'll color the other door beside it. You know, a lot of times those double doors like this are glass, like on the front of our school, the double doors are glass. Good. And then I'm going to do the dark brown again on this one. I'm going to change my direction, actually matching the direction of the building. Sometimes I have to change the grip on my colored pencil too, especially when my colored pencils get really small like this. Something you have to learn in art, guys, is you don't always grip your pencil the same way that you do when you're writing. When we're writing, we pretty much always do the same kind of grip. I'm going to take this and go back over the center of my door so everybody can see that's 2 doors. And I might add in some door handles like that. Oh yeah, that's starting to look pretty good. I need a door handle on this one. It's going to be a round knob though. And then I said for this one, I would try to show glass doors. So I'm going to pick up that light blue that you see a lot in that work over there. So I'll just do my light blue to show glass. And a lot of times when people are showing glass, they do leave some white streaks. They want it to look like there's reflection. But those glass doors, they definitely need some kind of frame. So I'm going to do like a wooden frame around it like this. And at the top too, because it's not solid glass, right? It's got to have something to hold the glass in there. And I might add in some door handles on those solid glass pieces. Oh, and I need to color my porch right here. I'm going to color it a little bit darker than the doors. Okay, so now I can think about the windows in my pictures. I'm going to do some of my windows with the lights on. So I'll do this nice light blue. How about in the glass building here? I'm going to keep going with the same light blue and color each window. And I'm going to leave some white streaks in these so it looks like those windows are reflecting the daylight, right? They're reflecting the sun out there. So that's a cool thing we could practice, is leaving some white streaks just when you do your windows. But you also have to think about what time of day it is. If you are doing your buildings and your cityscape and your setting is at night, because setting is the place and the time, right? So if your setting is at night, then you probably want to make your windows darker. Or you could have them really bright with like the lights on inside. I'm going to repeat this light blue over here on these windows. Same way, leave some little white streaks in there so it looks like they're reflecting light. And maybe I'll repeat them one more time over here so I have unity in my art. I'm making it look like things go together because I'm repeating those colors over and over again. I don't want to do them all exactly the same color blue. Maybe I'll switch to a dark blue for the next one. And the reason that you see blue, I mean, we know glass is clear, right? We can see right through it. But the sky is blue. So a lot of times windows work kind of like a mirror, and depending on the angle you're looking at it, you're seeing a reflection. So this tells me my work needs to have a light blue sky because of the time of day in my setting on my cityscape. Over here I think I'll switch to a darker blue, but I'm going to leave that light blue out. I think I'll need it again here in just a moment. Let me go to another blue, and I'm going to keep that angle. I am going to leave a little more white space in this one so that that dark blue doesn't look overpowering. Again, I'm holding my pencil at an angle to the side. Trying not to use the hard tip of my pencil. But when I sharpen colored pencils, I don't always sharpen them to a sharp point like I would a pencil I want to draw with or write with. Number one, if you do that, it's almost like cutting your paper each time you put it down with a really sharp tip. Number two, if I let my colored pencil get some wear on it, it gets kind of flat right here, so it's easier to color a little bit faster. Now I'm going to repeat this dark blue over here in my big building and take that all the way across, leaving some white streaks in there. So the fact that I'm repeating the angle of my coloring strokes on each one of these buildings also gives my artwork unity. Everybody say unity. U-N-I-T-Y. That is when I'm repeating colors in my art, I'm repeating shapes and making it look like I planned for it all to go together. Sometimes in our art we use variety. Variety is when we use all of the colors in our box and we just pick up whatever we grab first. Sometimes we think about it, sometimes we're not even thinking about what color we grab first. And then in my last building over here, I'm going to use the light blue again. I don't want to have dark blue windows and dark blue building, but I like that blue building. It turned out really cool. Again, I'm leaving some white streaks. I'm coloring in the same angle because I'm thinking, well, the sun is shining on all these windows from the same direction. So I'm going to have it on the same angle like this. Last window. And then I'm going to think about the sky. Now, I'm not going to put the sun in my sky, but I might have some clouds. So if I'm going to have some clouds, I'm going to overlap this building onto some clouds. And I'm not going to make them super hard, bumpy lines. I'm going to make them some long streaks. Now, my clouds are going to be white. So I'm going to leave that space white. And then when I leave that space white, I'm just going to color around it. So here goes my next cloud. And now I'm going to very softly color around my clouds and in between my buildings too. And now for my sky, I'm definitely going to color in two directions. I'm going to color in this direction first, and then I'll come back from another direction because I don't want to leave white spaces in my sky. I am coloring very, very softly for my sky. It's always easier to come back and add another coat of color and press harder. But once you press really hard, like I was talking about erasing color pencils, it's almost impossible to get it away. Now I'm going to come back from a different angle. I'm going to come from an opposite angle, still pressing very soft, very evenly, and color in my sky again around my nice soft white clouds. You know, clouds are tricky. Clouds can be lots of different colors. On a really blue sky day, like I'm doing in my picture, clouds are probably white. But sometimes clouds can be really dark gray if it's about to be a thunderstorm. And then when the sun is setting or the sun is rising, sometimes you see the sky has pink and purple and red in it. And that is the sun lighting up those white clouds with the colors that it is casting as it moves away to set or moves towards us as it rises. So clouds aren't always white. In this picture, like I said, I have a very fair weather day. Maybe these are cumulus clouds. Big white fluffy cotton ball clouds are called cumulus clouds. They're usually a sign of fair weather. Okay, man, I'm really happy with the way my city landscape turned out. I can't wait to see how yours turned out.